Perfect. Officially live. So today we're talking about the close. And what does a soft close mean versus a regular close? What's an aggressive close mean? How do I close somebody in a way that actually feels good? Not just for myself, but also for my prospect. Wouldn't it be nice if sales felt easy, if sales felt like you were actually helping people? Because that's truly what it is. Sales is service. Sales is something that we do for people and not to people. But how do we do that? What's the formula here? A lot of us believe that our sale, the close, happens at the end of a call. And so we all focus on this. We pick up flashcards on objection handling. We work really, really hard on all the little one-liners and the cool things that we can do to get somebody to buy. And we don't realize that most of the time, if you're having a hard time at the end of your call, it's typically because one of two things. Number one, you do not understand that there's things that you do, there's things that you say, there's parts of your body language that are off-putting to your prospect, where they're observing you or they're listening to you and they're getting little hints that you are not there for the right reasons. They're getting a little hints and clues that you sound like a salesperson. And because they have so many belief systems around salespeople, you're having to work 10 times harder than everyone else. It feels like sometimes you're in a boxing match at the end of your call, or it feels like you give up really easily and you're constantly chasing people. And I think that both don't serve you. You don't want it to be so hard at the end that it feels like a boxing match where it feels like you're stressing out and aggressive and you're going back and forth and your cortisol levels are high and you're feeling anxious and you're going into the next call like that and the next call like that. Like, you don't want that. And you also don't want to be people pleasing so hard and like letting people go that you're not closing anybody because you're being too soft. I think that there is a happy medium ground. A happy medium ground. How do I sell in a feminine way? How do I sell in an authentic way, a genuine way, where it doesn't feel like I'm pressuring somebody? And I also do not cross my own boundaries by letting somebody go. There's only two things that can happen at the end of a call. Only two things. These are the only two outcomes that are allowed to exist. Number one, they buy from you. Best outcome. Number two, there's a secondary call that's set up with you. That's it. Especially if you're in a B2B type of sale. I see so many times girls in B2B chasing people because you are meeting somebody for the second time and now all of a sudden they tell you, oh, I have to go back to my board. I have to go back to my CMO. I have to go back to somebody, finance department, legal, and we'll get back to you. And you say, okay, yeah, no worries, not a problem. And then you're chasing them down trying to find this person. There has to be a call on the calendar. If this person says that they'll pay tomorrow, there has to be a call on the calendar. Like, everything has to be scheduled or it does not exist. Yes, I'm going to give you a few different things that you can do here at the end of your call in order for people to be able to buy. And in order for us to do that, I'm also going to give you a couple things that you could be doing in the call that are causing it to be really difficult for you at the end. Yes? Okay. I mentioned earlier, there's one thing, which is you are possibly doing something in the call that's triggering resistance to make it hard. I mentioned that there's a second thing. The second thing that can happen in a call for somebody not to buy from you is that you don't understand how to pick up on people's patterns. This is a psychology game. Sales is all psychology. It's about you understanding human beings, how they think, how they act, why do they do what they do? And it helps if you have a curious mind. What causes people to think the way that they think? What causes people to do the things that they do? Why do they choose that? Why does that make them afraid? What's coming up for them there? How do they decide to do this? Your life, as well as your prospect's life, is a direct reflection of their belief systems and the decisions that they've made so far. So when you're in a call, in addition to you understanding your skill, understanding your craft, mastering this, learning your tonality, learning how to ask questions, in addition to all of that, you are also an excellent listener and you are listening with so much curiosity to somebody's belief systems and patterns and trying to understand why they think the way that they think. If you want to learn how to become the best at what you do, like a top 1% of a 1%, understanding and influencing at a very deep, deep level, you have to understand your prospect in the way that they think without judgment. You understand their wants, their needs, their desires, their fears, but you're unwilling to buy into any belief system or any story that might hold them back. And if you don't understand how to pick up on those patterns and how to reframe that way of thinking inside of the call, inside of a conversation, you're going to be working again 10 times harder at the end because you're working on belief systems that have been built for 10, 20, 30 plus years. For example, most people don't buy from you because of a fear of change. All humans have a deep fear of change. And the main reason why people buy is because change is so scary that they self-sabotage it. They shut it down. They go into fight or flight. They are unwilling to get uncomfortable, even though human beings say that they like to change. They don't. Our human brain is a survival mechanism, and we run away from uncomfortability. We don't like to sit in uncomfortability. And so if you're having a hard time with somebody and they're not buying from you, and they have years of conditioning that would cause them not to want to get uncomfortable, it's going to be very difficult for you to undo years of conditioning like that when you're objection handling, when their body's already in fight or flight. It's going to be very, very difficult. But if you can learn how to reframe people, change their perspectives inside of the call, it's going to be a lot easier for you to break down those patterns once you get to the end of the call. If this makes sense. Yes. So let's go over the way that you close. First of all, you need to tell somebody the price. I don't know why I have to say this. This isn't rocket science, but you do need to tell somebody the price before you start asking if they believe like that this is the answer for what they're looking for. I've seen too many calls. I've been in too many different type of roles where you're asking someone like, hey, do you believe that this is going to help you? And they have no clarity on how much it costs. And so you're confused as to why there's uncertainty at the end of the call when you're trying to get them to buy. Your prospect needs to have a lot of certainty. There shouldn't be anything that they're unclear about. And I don't care what you sell. It doesn't matter what industry you are in. You need to give clarity. When I was in B2B sales, we had large builders that we would wire the home, like these big estates for smart home automation. And I would have to give a proposal and have to go through all the wires. And a lot of times like the builder doesn't understand all the different wires that we need. So I would need to explain everything so they understood why we need certain things in order for them to have clarity and certainty that this was the wires that they needed for their home. In addition, after we wired the house, we would send it out to another person on the company, and then they would try to close the client on equipment afterwards. So then it became a B2C sale and somebody else did those sales. And when they were going through the proposal, because it was so many different things, you need this gadget to be able to work this thing. You need to be able to have a closet with an air vent in order for you to have all of your equipment in this closet for the whole house to work. Like there's so many different components. And what I found is that if the prospect didn't really understand what was in this invoice, they didn't really have clarity as to why they needed it, there would be uncertainty about moving forward. Regardless of what you sell, your prospect needs to understand how much they're paying for something, why it's important, And they need to understand that if they do buy this, it's going to solve a problem and or an emotional need. So here's a few things that you can do in your call that continuously tell this person that it solves a problem and an emotional need. Number one, you are consistently talking about somebody's outcome throughout the entirety of a call. You're consistently putting the outcome in their mind. And it doesn't matter what you sell. I'm going to give you an example so that you can understand. But I'm consistently talking about an outcome because you don't sell things, you sell the results of what things do. You don't sell fitness, you sell for somebody to be able to, lose weight and keep it off and have a lot of energy and be able to play with their kids and be able to fit in their wedding dress. You don't sell marketing services, you sell ability for somebody to have more visibility and be able to obtain more clientele, be able to increase their revenue. You don't sell a house, you sell a safer neighborhood for somebody's kids, and you sell a bigger room for the new baby on the way. Like, you don't sell a thing, you sell the results of what a thing does. So think about what you sell right now. What is the result of what that does? You sell insurance. You sell the ability for somebody to financially protect their family when they pass away. What's the result of what you sell? Because I'm going to continuously talk about this throughout the call. Why? Because the brain is going to focus on what I tell it to focus. And I'm going to ask very specific questions where I can keep the brain thinking about what I need it to think about. And I need the brain to be thinking about an outcome all the time, all the time. I don't want it closed to feel scary. I want it to feel like it solves a problem. I want it to feel like it would cost more for this individual or this company to do nothing at all than it would be to buy my product or service that I'm selling them. They need to feel the emotional weight of that. How do I get somebody to feel the emotional weight? I need to build a gap in their mind from where they are right now to where they want to be, from their current state to their objective state. And in order for me to build this gap, I need to do a couple things. Number one, I need to talk about the objective state, the outcome that they're looking for, what that's going to feel like. I'm going to consistently talk about the outcome here. And in order for me to make this gap bigger, I'm going to find as many problems as I humanly can. Many problems. Average sales reps can find one problem. Really good top sales reps can find 2, 3, 4, 5 problems. And they make the prospect feel the weight of those problems. And the more problems I find and the more reasons that there is to change, the bigger this gap gets. And the bigger the gap gets, the more tension that this prospect feels inside their body. The more tension, they have to do something about it, which means that they have to buy from you. So how do I talk about the outcome throughout the call? I could start off the call talking about the outcome. It looks like we booked this call about you possibly, and I'll talk about it. So it looks like we booked this call about you possibly putting in some more ads in place in order for you guys to increase the visibility for your company and attract in higher quality leads for your sales reps so that you guys can increase your margins, profitability, and revenue for this next quarter, right? I'm talking about the outcome. I'm not saying, hey, you're here for ads, right? They're not buying ads, they're buying the outcome of what the ads do. Yes? I know that we're meeting today about you possibly putting a policy in place so that you guys can make sure your family is financially protected when you do pass away, right? I'm talking about the outcome. Now, throughout the call, a human brain does not like to sit in uncomfortability. I'm going to consistently remind this brain as to what I want it to focus on, as to what I want it to think about. Yes? So how do I do this? I'm consistently bringing it back up to the surface. If I'm talking about problems, I'm going to reiterate those problems. If I'm, 10 minutes into the call, I might re-talk about the outcome. Just so I can understand how it's so important for you guys to increase your visibility. What are you doing now that I guess you weren't doing before? I'm constantly talking about the outcome, and I'll weave it into the questions that I'm utilizing. Maybe I'm talking about what they're wanting to do for the future. I'm like, suppose we're able to come in and actually help you get that visibility that you're wanting, be able to help you acquire higher quality leads and clients so that you can increase your margins, increase your revenue for this quarter. What would that do for you guys? I'm consistently talking about it through the call, especially when I get to the end. I go over price. I tell them how much it is. I ask them if they have any questions. I answer any questions that they might have. And then I ask them, like, do you believe, and this is a commitment question, a right commitment question. I say, do you believe that what I went over, and I talk about whatever it is I went over, do you believe that putting these ads in place really would be like the answer for you so that you actually can get visibility, you can bring in higher quality leads for your sales reps and increase your revenue and profit margins for this next quarter? Notice I say it again, I'll say it 5-6 times throughout the call. And I'm listening for a yes. I believe it. I'm listening for a yes, but I'm looking for certainty. If they seem unsure, I'm going to be questioning the uncertainty. You don't seem sure. I'm looking for somebody to tell me that they really believe that buying from me will solve a problem that is severe. Once I have the certain yes, I'm going to ask them why they feel that way. And why questions are so beautiful if you use them the right way. A why question allows somebody to defend their position. So it's really important that I'm asking why questions with the intention of them selling me and themselves on their thought process. So the way you don't use why questions is, for example, let's say somebody says, oh, well, I went with this company instead. And I said, well, why did you? And they start telling me and themselves why they went with this company instead. And they're selling themselves on this company. No. Be really careful with why questions. If they say, yes, I believe the answer is this, I believe this will solve my problem, I'm going to say why. And now what's going to happen? They're going to tell me, and then they're going to tell themselves why they feel like this is the answer for them. And I can keep going. Why else? Besides that, why else? What specific aspects did we go over today? Do you really believe we're really going to help you? I can ask so many different questions. I want to go layers deep. I want them to really tell me that this is the answer. Why do I want them to do that? Because if they told me and themselves why they truly believe that buying from me will solve their problem, I now, as a salesperson, am in my full integrity to stay on that call until they purchase. Because I know, and now they know, that whatever it is I'm selling is going to really help them. They've already told me. They've already told themselves. They told me multiple reasons as to why. My thing died. No worries. I changed. All right, cool. All right. They already told me multiple reasons as to why. So I'm in my integrity to challenge them. I'm in my integrity to hold space. I'm in my integrity to hold up a mirror. Remember, humans hate change. Of course, there's going to be some uncomfortability. Of course, this person is going to have a little bit of nervousness or maybe a little bit of hesitation. Of course, because you're going against years of conditioning that's going to hold them back from getting uncomfortable. Of course. Somebody not buying from you, somebody giving you a sales objection can have nothing to do with you. It could have a lot to do with you if you're the person that caused the sales objection, but there's a really good chance that it's their social conditioning, it's their childhood conditioning, it's their fears, their belief systems that are holding them back. And so wouldn't you want to be in a position where this person has already told you, yes, I want that. Yes, it makes sense. Yes, this would really help me. And now you're only helping them get to what they want, which is their outcome, which is their problem solved. Think about it like this. You and a little kid, maybe a little kid that you're babysitting or your child or whoever, you guys go to an amusement park. Okay. And this little kid is finally tall enough to ride the roller coaster. And they're looking at it and they're like, oh my gosh, everyone's screaming on it. It looks really, really scary, but it looks really fun. And they tell you, I'm going on that roller coaster. This is the year I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a big kid. I'm going to go on the roller coaster. I want it. And you guys are standing in line. You're standing in line. And all of a sudden, you guys get up to the front. And now the fear comes over their little eyes and their little face. And they're like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this. And so I ask them, I'm like, well, do you really want to ride the ride so that you can be a big kid and so that you can experience this ride? Like, that's what you really want to do. You've been talking about it all year long. And they're like, well, yes. And you say, well, why? And they're like, well, because I want to go back and show my little brother that I'm a big kid, and because it looks really fun, and because all these other reasons. They go there, all the other reasons. Well, now you have a choice. It gets closer. They start freaking out even more. Will you allow them and hold space for them and continue to help persuade and influence this little kid to be able to have the experience of going on the roller coaster, because it's going to solve all these problems? It's going to really help them have this experience that they've never been able to have? Or are you going to let their fear convince you to allow them to be too afraid and get out of line and walk away, even though you've been standing there for an hour? Which one is it? It's the same thing in a call. Same thing in a sales conversation. This person wants it. It would solve their problem. It would really help them. But they're in their own way. Their fear is in their own way. Will you stand with them and help them overcome their fear? Help them realize that it would cost more than to do nothing at all than it would be to buy from you, and let them have the experience of their problems be solved? Or are you going to get too scared and get off the call and start chasing them? Which one will it be? Some of you guys are being too soft on your calls. You're too scared to stand for somebody to get the outcome that they're looking for. Sales is not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you looking perfect. It's not about you being perceived as cool or smart or whatever it is. Like, sales is not about you. It's about your prospect being able to get the outcome that they're desiring, that they're wanting, and about you getting out of your own damn way and be able to be whoever they need you to be for them in order for them to have the breakthrough and buy from you. And you get to get really, really good at acquiring a really good skill set to be able to help them do that. If I'm talking about all this right now and you're like, wow, like, you're gonna have to reframe somebody and have to do that and have to change their belief system, like, how the hell do you do that? If you want more help like that, comment community on ours. So we have free trainings all the time. I'm happy to help you guys. But there's other levels. You know, we do free trainings in here every week, but these are just a little bit. Like, I'm giving you guys just a little bit. This is nothing compared to our main training programs, like Elite or our Inner Circle training program. We go into so much more detail on how you actually do this. This is just a little bit. The question is, are you at a place right now where you actually want to learn it? There's so much that I want to teach you. You got to get uncomfortable. And you got to get willing to do what's required in order for you to have a really high skill set so that you can help more people. But in addition to that, you make more money. Sales is such a beautiful vehicle and can change your life forever if you are willing to develop your skill set, if you're willing to do the work. So I hope that this training was helpful for you guys today. We do trainings every single week in here. If you want more, please message me on Instagram, Circle, YouTube, whatever. Message me and ask for whatever questions you have. Comment on these videos and we respond back to all of them. If there's any way I can help you directly, please let me know. And if you are in here again, comment community. We have a free training every single week, a free community with other women that are badass performers and that are supporting each other, honoring each other, showing up, making wins, making sales happen. So it's absolutely epic. I honor all you guys. Love you. Have an amazing day. And if you're on my IG live, if you have any questions, you can drop them below. I'll be answering those right after this. Bye, queens.